mayor, if he would, to open us in prayer. So if everybody would stand.
Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this beautiful day. We thank you for the opportunity we have to come together in a free country, discuss ideas, and make decisions. We ask that you would give us the wisdom and the foresight to do the things that will be beneficial for our citizens and for our city. We also ask that you bless one of our employees who's currently involved in some sickness, Dan Blevins. He's involved in some tests and running the last day or two, and hopefully he'll find out something good today, Lord. We ask that you just keep him in your hands. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Place the flag. Attention. Salute. Flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I'd like to welcome everybody to our council meeting today. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, first on our agenda is citizen participation. Robert Avery, representing the 2020 census, to address the council regarding upcoming census and its importance for the state and our area. Welcome, Robert.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you all for letting me come this afternoon to kind of bring you up to date. That might work now.
I don't think he needs it.
How does fellow folks out there now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty strong. Again, good afternoon, and I appreciate the opportunity to come before you to try to bring you up to date on what we're doing as far as the 2020 census. As you know, it's that time again. Every 10 years we get out here and we try to beat the bushes and find out who all lives in our country. And so we're at that stage now. Here in DeKalb County, I was just looking at my numbers before I walked up. We're hiring people for part-time employment, part-time, full-time, if that makes sense, because even though this is going to be part-time, they can work 40 hours a week. You can work 1 hour a day, or you can work 8 hours a day, or like I say, 40 hours a week. And your time starts from Sunday to Saturday. And so we're here to, right now, I think, as I looked at my numbers a few minutes ago, we're about 32 people short of having what we want to have by May 1st. So if there's anybody out there who's interested in some part-time employment, I did get the numbers finally on the pay. All the jobs in the census throughout the country, the cheapest one, the lowest paying job is $13.50 an hour. And that's what they'll be making here in DeKalb County, is $13.50 an hour. It also pays 58 cents a mile for your travel. And right now, like I say, we're 30-some people away from having what we want to have by May 1st. But I want to caution you, because at the height of the census, we're going to be hiring over 600 people here in DeKalb County. So don't get discouraged if you're not part of the 30-some people who get hired between now and May. Please, ma'am, and please, sir, let them apply and keep applying, because like I said, the midsummer, we're going to have somewhere around 600 people here in DeKalb County. With that, I'll give this to the clerk folks, the folks who really do the work around here. I served on the Gadsden City Council for 24 years, so I know who all do the work at City Hall. I know the mayor and the council like to take the credit, but I like to give the credit to where the credit is due, to the city clerk over there and his supporters. So with that, I'll just be quiet, and if anybody have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
So you just go online or call?
Absolutely. You
Apply.
go, in order to apply, you go online. The online address is 2020census.gov/jobs. And make sure you put the S on jobs, because if you don't, you'll get into a whole new web page. But that's where you go online to apply. And if you're 18 years of age or older, that's it. That's the only requirement of being 18.
these 600 people will be hired?
The deadline, I'm almost sure no later than September, we need to have all those people on board. Again, what we're trying to do this time, you know, the census, every year, every 10 years, we fall short because people don't want to participate. And so the government has decided this year, we're gonna hire over 500,000 people, right at 500,000 people nationwide. We wanna make sure we get an accurate count, so we're gonna try to do hire neighborhood people to go to neighborhood doors and knock on those doors and make sure we get that accurate count.
And it will end 1 October.
No, as a matter of fact, the census is not due to April 1st next year.
Oh,
So there will be people working up until this time next year.
okay.
We're not sure how many, but we feel like the peak of employment here in DeKalb County will be around 600 folks, and that should last probably through the end of the year.
Okay.
I mean, how long does it take to process a household? I just wonder what kind of questions.
That's a good question. I guess it depends on the individual. You're probably talking maybe 15 minutes, maybe at the most, if the people will be upfront and go ahead and ask the questions. It's not that many questions on there. As you know, there was some controversy about whether or not you were a U.S. citizen. Well, that's been struck, so you don't have to worry about that. I know there's a lot of people in the community here who are probably not U.S. citizens, and they're kind of nervous about that. This information is not shared with anybody other than the census, the Commerce Department. And when I say the information, I'm talking about personal information. If the Justice Department or any other branch of government want to know anything, they give them numbers, like how many people actually live in Fort Payne or DeKalb County. They don't tell who they are, they just tell how many there are.
Here's the person you need to give it to.
Okay.
Or the media people.
Right, well, we're gonna give them some, we got
Okay,
something
I'll
good too.
keep mine.
Yeah, that's okay. And I apologize, I had to leave home early this morning. We do normally have packages for the council members and stuff, but I ran out, because like I said, we've been behind, we've been out here working, and I apologize, but I'll make sure I give them some. Any other questions? I've got plenty, yes.
Tell them the importance of doing this.
The importance, most people don't realize the importance of the census. The census or data is used for everything, particularly our schools and the monies and the federal dollars that we receive in our communities. I know you might have some projects going on now. If you want to apply for grants, all of that depends on the number of citizens you have in your community, and it's based on your census. And so that's why it's very, very important that we get an accurate count when it comes down to that. I don't know of any program that doesn't depend on information from the census. When you apply for anything here in this city, it all goes back to the census data. How many people you have, what's the major income, and then also your industries. And I know you've been recruiting one here lately, or one expanded. It's based on the census. And so that's why it's very, very important. And if you have neighbors, please, ma'am and please, sir, let them know that they need to participate, and that information stays with the census as far as the personal information, but they need those numbers as to how many people are there and the age group. That's basically what goes outside the census office.
Robert, at one time, there were some lawsuits from some states that were opposing the counting of illegal aliens.
Right.
Have those suits been dismissed, or?
There's still some questions about that, but anybody who resides in the country, they want to count. Again, as to whether or not they're legal or illegal is not the issue right now. What we're trying to find out is how many people live inside the United States territories. And then, as far as the illegal stuff is concerned, that's a whole new department. Like I say, our department do not deal with whether people are legal or illegal. We just deal with numbers. Any other questions? Again, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, and like I say, I will be back to bring you up to date as to where we are as far as employment is concerned. I think when I was here the other day, we were somewhere 60-some people short here in the county, So maybe it's helped just by coming and making people aware that we're in the community hiring. So again, thank you very much for your time, and I will be back.
Thank you for Robert.
Robert, one other thing, will you be at the meeting in Montgomery Thursday?
I was planning on being there, but they just told me that I've got to go to Blount County because we're farther behind in Blount County than we are here in DeKalb County.
Well, myself and 2 others are going down for that meeting, the governor's call, so.
The governor, and they're putting a lot of emphasis on that, and of course, like I say, we stand to lose possibly a congressional seat if we don't get an accurate account. And so that's why the governor is having a conference on Thursday to make sure that the people are aware of the importance. We can't stress that enough, the importance of being counted. Don't worry about all that other stuff. And I understand some people don't want to know mom and them stay in the house and mom and them get a check. We don't care about that. We need those numbers, and that's the most important thing.
Let me pick the one we lose, and it might be okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate the time.
Thank you. All right. Moving right along to our public hearing. A hearing to receive public comments about the proposed vacation of an unopened alleyway off Elm Street. The petition has run in the Times Journal for 4 consecutive weeks as required by law. Is anybody here today to speak to that?
It's my petition.
Okay.
I'm advocating for it. I'm not against it. So,
Okay.
do you want me to come up or? No? Okay.
Nobody's in opposition to it?
No, we don't have any opposition, so.
Are there any opposition at all to it?
Maybe.
Huh?
There's someone back there that looks like he wants to stand up. Oh, okay, sorry.
No opposition?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Got a motion and second to close hearing. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next, we have our committee reports. Is there any committee reports from any of the council? What about our department heads? Y'all have anything? Okay. Good deal. Moving right along, ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2019-15, authorizing the vacancy of the alleyway subject of the above noted public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second for this resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, as far as new business, we have budget adjustment for $2,500 for the baby changing stations to be placed in various locations. I know we've talked about this several times.
What's
this
the
is-
total number of baby changing stations?
Was it 11?
11.
11, I think.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second to approve that budget adjustment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, activity permits, Friends of the DeKalb County Animal Adoption Center, a walk and run event at Wills Valley Route on Saturday, October the 12th. Randy?
I haven't talked to this lady. She normally does this run, or this walk and run over at the pavilion, so I'd like to talk to her just to make absolutely sure that this is correct. So if you'll set that aside.
She's booked the Kiwanis Pavilion for that date.
Okay, so that must be right then. We're good with that. If she's booked the pavilion, then that's where she wants to have it.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next, we have a streetlight request. Gary Cole, 1601 Dean Road. Randy?
We set that aside from last meeting. I had a chance to go out there and look at it. Where this light is, if we can move it, there is a light in the area that's in a spot where there's not any houses or anything like that. If we can move that light one pole, we would be good on this particular street light. So I'd like the opportunity maybe to talk to the folks at the Improvement Authority and see if we can get that moved. Therefore, we don't have to put up another light. We can just use an existing light and move it.
It's just a matter of public safety.
It It could be, it's dark and a little dip right there, so if we can move that one from one pole down, it's about 300-400 feet away, I think we'll be okay.
So if we move it, we won't be adding, we'll just be
No,
moving
we'll
the
just be
existing
moving.
pole.
That's correct.
I asked Randy to take a look at 410 Berry Street, if you had a chance to look at that.
We're working on that, we're
Okay.
working on that, get those folks to apply.
Give me a motion.
Do we need a motion?
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. All right. Mayor, do you have anything for us?
Update on our sewer projects. I talked with James yesterday. We're about 3 months away from starting on the north project, a little further away from starting on the south project. Everything's been done on the north, waiting for a approval from ADM. Everything's been done on the south project, except just a little bit of surveying. The archaeological studies and everything came back fine on that, so hopefully we get started just as soon as we can. Lucas Blankenship with TARCOG was in Washington about 2 weeks ago, and he talked with Senator Shelby and Senator Jones about the old hospital. And evidently they must have made a phone call or what have you, because when he got back to the office, he had a message to resubmit that plan. So we will, it won't be in this year, but we'll resubmit it sometime this year for next year. And the word he's got to it is a pretty good chance that it'll go through this time. Also, TARCOG is going to hold their annual board meeting here this time. There's pretty about 70, 75 people. They reserved the pavilion. I'll get back with you later on, and we want to be represented well if we can.
When is it, Mayor?
It's June the 25th.
June 25th.
June 25th will be a noon deal. I think Don has something concerning some fees that he'd like to talk about.
Yes, the year that I've been down here, I've noticed our payroll clerks get a lot of requests for background checks from prospective employers or past employees. Also, lending institutions need financial information for loans of that nature. We're doing a lot of them, and I've talked to the girls that do payroll, and they say we're doing more of them than they've ever seen. So I'd like to request that we start adding a fee to access that information and send it back to them. It's quite lengthy, the information that they want, and in one instance, we had a past employee seeking another job. They were asking for background information on our past employee. By the time we got all that information submitted to them, well, the employee had gone to another job, and so we had to fill it out again for another prospective employer. So it's tying a lot of our time up. And in some cases, when we provide payroll information, we're having to access that information from our Griff, who used to do our payroll years back, and they're charging us a fee for that information. So I think some of the lending institutions would, in their doc fees, they're actually charging that customer for getting that information from us. So I just feel like that we need to be charging these other agencies for our time and our efforts to provide that information. And I'd just like to request that you would allow us to charge $35 flat fee to provide that information.
I don't have a problem with that, but can they legally ask for background information on an employee?
Well, that former employee signs, and we have that paper in hand before we provide that information. That employee signs out, they give them permission.
Yeah, we have a release, some of it's just public record that they're entitled to, but in addition, I would say to charging the first $35, if we have to access it from MDA, that ought to be added. In other words, if we're paying in MDA $35, then we ought to charge 35 plus our 35 and do that. Because although, even if it's public record, we're entitled to charge a reasonable fee for the services producing those records.
Don and I feel like by doing this, we're gonna limit quite a few of them. I mean, once they get in touch with him and ask for this information, and we tell them it's gonna cost them $35, 2/3 of them will drop off.
Well, we had an instance the other day where Patrick and I both submitted information on 3 occasions on the same person. The company requesting information apparently kept losing it. So we had to supply it 3 different times on the same person, the same company. And, I informed them that's the last time we were doing it. We would not supply it again. So, if they've got some money tied to it, they're probably gonna be a little better about keeping it, I'd say.
So how are you going to, accept payment for that? Jesse, you got that worked out?
This is the first I've heard it.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
sure what they can pay for any way that it is payment.
Well, we'll either have payment, check, or something before we release any of the information.
I think I can control it, because all of these come in via the phone or email. Most of them come in through email. I'll just make them aware of our policy, and when we see that they paid their fee, and we'll release the information. That's how we did reports in the past, you know. An insurance company wanted a report, they sent us a check, when we got the check, we released the information to them.
We need to amend that to any of our fee schedules or something.
No, I mean, that's just in-house administration, y'all are good with it. Sally.
All right.
One other thing, when we gonna start using these?
I got mine.
Got mine.
Mine's downstairs.
Mine is on.
What reports can we get on these right now? I know you've got some of the budget deals, some of the expenses.
The payment of accounts reports, and I just uploaded the annual audit that was just completed, so it's on there. Finally, yes.
And they'll be here next council meeting.
So, and it is on this too. Okay.
The minutes and the agendas are.
Is that on that, OneDrive?
Mayor, we're gonna start using it as soon as they hire somebody to go around with you and who?
Well, shit, well, somebody had to help me.
You're getting it here.
I found out how to turn it on.
Step ahead of me.
My granddaughter told me.
Anything else, Mayor? All right. Does anybody in the audience have anything, I'd like to bring before the council? Yeah.
We need to talk about changing
Yeah.
the cleanup.
the-
Patrick, you wanna come
The
talk?
cleanup, we, will have the month of April as our cleanup. The weekends of April, we're gonna change up a little bit than what we did last year. So,
Instead of putting dumpsters out in town, which is just the county commissioner said it best in the paper today, it's just that there's too much liability associated with it these days. We'll just open up the landfill for a designated amount of time on Saturdays throughout the month of April. And if you come up there and show us your driver's license or a copy with an address that you live inside the city limits, then we can separate and dispose of that stuff properly, which will keep us out of trouble with the state, and we won't be we won't have to pay any fines for taking anything we're not supposed to take or anything like that. So if nobody has a problem with that, I think that'd be the best way to go about it.
yes, I think so.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday in
On
April.
Saturdays through the month of April, if you come up there, we will have designated containers for what you have to get rid of, and we'll have somebody on site to show you where to put it, and there will be no charge associated.
And possibly help unload it there.
Yes, if you've got something heavy like a refrigerator or something like that, you bring it up there, you'll have the forklift and the bucket loader.
And what exactly are the hours?
We were gonna suggest 8 to 1, so unless anybody's got a problem with that, I'd say 8 AM to 1 PM.
What about during the week?
You can come up during the week, during regular working hours and through the month of April. If you can show that you live inside the city limits, we won't charge you throughout the month of April. So.
I think it'll eliminate a rolling over at the Rotary Pavilion like it did
Yeah.
last year.
Right,
Cleaned the
yeah.
whole house out, left it on the ground over
know, these landfills are permitted.
Yes, so we can
And
only
some of
take,
them can take different materials
Correct.
than what others can, and I don't believe we're permitted for, what, paint or batteries?
basically any liquids or chemicals that would seep into the groundwater table, we
And
cannot
if,
take.
and if you put the dumpsters out, I mean, you know, people might not know and not intentionally do something they shouldn't, but they'll put old batteries and old paint and whatever, so that will keep this from happening and keep our guys at the landfill from having to go through and try to separate it.
I think it'd work best for everybody involved.
And we got a pretty good separation point at the recycle center for some of these things that we can't take to landfill. If they'll go to the recycle center, they will gladly show you where to put your stuff over there, and then it's sent to the proper
And
place.
then go to the proper place.
Correct, Teresa's should be over there, sometimes she's on a route or something, but she can answer any questions anybody's got when they show up over there.
Also, our leadership DeKalb class is doing their project on the litter cleanup. They're focusing in April, and they also, April the 27th, they have a big cleanup day. Group Clean Harbors will be here, the whole county, for people to bring, you know, some of the chemicals and stuff that they can't put in a regular landfill. So we need to get that word out.
Yeah, it's like Red said, a lot of times it's not intentional, they just don't know, but, you know, yeah, I think that'll work, so thank you.
Well, thank you.
I want to commend Tim and some of his folks for their cleanup efforts. If you'll notice around town, it's looking a heck of a lot better. And I actually saw a boy running a lawnmower the other day with a grabber stick, keeping from cutting them up, you know, and things looking better. Of course, we're having to pay some men to do that, but I don't know any other way to keep running.
And I'd just like to encourage everybody to pitch in, because it's all of our community. And, you know, if you see an area that needs cleaning up, you know, put your group together and go clean that area up. I know that, you know, I see a lot of different places that, like different neighborhoods and stuff. If that neighborhood would get together and go and just pick up their own neighborhood, it would make such a big difference. And we got to educate these people not to throw this stuff out. That's the big key, because it's always going to be a problem if we don't get the root of the problem.
I think some of the areas that we've cleaned up are staying cleaned up now, because once you start throwing it out there and it's not cleaned up, it's more apt to get more trash thrown on it.
Exactly.
So cleaning it up slows that process down too. Our crews are doing a great job. Fort Payne's cleaner than I've seen it in a long time.
Great.
Very good. I'd like to recognize the Living Stone Ministries?
Yes.
They're back with us today, and their class. We appreciate you guys being here. I'd like to recognize all these. Let's have them stand up. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, anybody else have anything before we? I think we need a motion to go into executive session for a potential litigation.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Johnny? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carried. No action taken afterwards. We appreciate you all coming.
Thank you.